All right. So I got Sam here from Everipedia. Sam, can
Yeah.
you hear me? Good to go? All
Yeah.
right. Awesome. Tell us a little bit about what is Everpedia first to get started, and then we'll do a little tour of the office because I know you got everybody there.
Yeah, for sure. So Everpedia is basically the new version of Wikipedia. We're trying to remake the idea of wikis. We have all 5 million plus pages of Wikipedia on Everpedia, and we encourage people to edit it, make pages for themselves for things that they like, and basically anything goes. It just has to be cited and neutral, just like Wikipedia, but it's much easier to use.
Why do you feel like this is important? If Wikipedia already exists, why is this worth working on?
Well, I love Wikipedia personally. It's at one of my favorite sites. It's one of the biggest sites, but very few people actually edit it, which is kind of sad because everyone reads it. So one of the main things I was thinking of is what if it was cool and easy to edit Wikipedia and make pages and basically just make it fun. And that's basically what we're trying to do at Everpedia. We encourage people to make wikis for themselves, for their startups, and everything basically. So it's basically if Wikipedia was easy to use
Got
and
it.
everything in it. Yeah.
Absolutely. That makes complete sense. All right. Show us around the office real quick because I know you got people there.
So this is the Everpedia HQ. This is everyone that is working at Christian.
Christian.
And this is
Hey, I'm Rami.
What's up, guys?
yeah. We basically live and work out of here. It's a 4-bedroom apartment. Basically, the commute, we like to joke, is 5 to 10 steps from the bedroom.
Yeah. I love it. And now you guys are where in LA?
Yeah, we're actually right outside of UCLA, West Side LA. I was a UCLA student, graduated in 2015. Another one of our founders is also UCLA grad, and we're LA based. So it's getting cooler and cooler to become LA based now with Snapchat and all that stuff. So
Absolutely. Cool. So tell me right now, kind of, you guys have, you've obviously ported over all of the Wikipedia pages, right? And now you guys are adding new pages every single day. You guys have some pretty significant traffic already, but let's walk through kind of like, where's that traffic coming from? And then what are you guys doing to generate as much of it as you can?
Right. So we have a couple million page views a month right now, and we're trying to increase it by making content that either Wikipedia doesn't allow for notability reasons or for any other issues. So one of our projects right now is actually making pages for all of the top YouTube, Instagram, and like Twitter celebrities because they get a lot of interest. People want to learn about them, but only the tip top have Wikipedia pages for some reason. Like for example, Mahmoud is a Twitter celebrity, arguably, and he has a lot of fans and stuff. But Wikipedia deleted his page multiple times because of notability. We're just trying to increase knowledge in any area, literally anything, and for everything. So that's basically how we're trying to increase our traction. And it's going really well. It's going really, really well. We get a lot of users that edit these pages and find them from either social media or basically Google search.
Absolutely. Yeah. So obviously search traffic is really important for you guys. And then what is the kind of flow right now that you're seeing in terms of somebody comes, they discover Everpedia probably because they're discovering a page, right? So they're reading content. And then how are you convincing them or converting them from a reader to an editor?
Right. So that's actually one of the problems that Wikipedia has, right? That's one of the main problems because it's the number 5th or 6th biggest site on the internet. But then if you start asking your friends, like, do you know anyone that edits Wikipedia like every day and makes pages? Like, I don't think you'll even get a single person. So that's actually the main challenge. We're trying to A/B test different banners, different layouts of how pages look on mobile or on desktop, and we're always switching things around a little bit here and there. But that's one of the actual main challenges we're trying to solve. Right now, we're changing some structures on the mobile page, putting some banners, and it had really good conversion, but it could always be better. You know what I mean?
Yep, absolutely. That makes sense. And then, so walk through kind of your guys. So one of the things you guys are focusing on is the Instagram and kind of social media stars there. But then I also noticed that you guys are paying a lot of attention to kind of what's culturally relevant or timely, right? So kind of how are you guys using that as a growth strategy?
Yeah, so we actually get a lot of traffic from news-related stuff, and we get users adding more information from it, almost kind of like a crowdsourced, like newspaper or something. Wikipedia is like that too, but only for really, really big things, like some shooting that's massive, or some event in like a civil war or something. But like, for example, if you heard about, did you hear about like the police officer last week who like shot at some kids in Southern California or something? Yeah, we just made a page for that person, and a bunch of people signed up and gave us some information, edited the page. We made it really good, and it got hundreds of thousands of page views in like a few days, basically. So it was really, really relevant to the news, but also people were contributing and talking about it on social media, sharing it. And it's a really, good question why, like, Wikipedia, for example, doesn't have a page on that guy. Maybe they might not think it's like encyclopedic or something, but we don't care. As long as it's cited and neutral, we encourage that kind of stuff. So.
Got it. And so how much of that traffic is coming direct, like somebody's searching and they're finding the page, versus, let's say, maybe a news organization or some outlet is linking to the page and they're driving traffic, kind of like from a channel perspective?
Yeah, a lot of it is mainly social media or search. Almost like it's kind of like 50-50 between, depending on how socially relevant or trendy it is right now. But a lot of the news stuff is mainly social media, Twitter, Facebook, and all that stuff. So one of the main things I learned actually from starting Everipedia is just how quickly information travels on social media if it's relevant. It's insane. Yeah,
absolutely. That makes sense. And then what's been the craziest thing that a user has made? What page has been the craziest one that you guys haven't made yourselves?
Yeah, that's a really good question. What do you guys think? What do you guys think at the office? What's one of the coolest pages someone else has made? Mariah. Well, something someone made from just themselves. Yeah.
That's a good question.
Yeah, we've had people make, like, for example, for like the UCLA shooting or other news related pages, we've made pages for like the victim or something because people wanted to learn stuff about, and then we've had people make pages for either like their relatives, or in like the UCLA shooting, for instance, they made pages originally detailing like the actual events of the shooting, which didn't actually have direct information to that extent, even though we were right next to UCLA.
Absolutely. No, it's really cool. Yeah, I think that, as I've looked at what you guys are doing and we've talked more and more, it's almost like in these real-time events or these like culturally relevant things, you're creating this like citable source of truth in this dynamic environment, right? So as information is changing, you can kind of on the fly edit the information as long as it's being cited and it's neutral. And so there's a level of like curation to some degree.
Yeah.
That just a lot of these other sites don't have.
Exactly. Like, a lot of people ask us, like, what about all this like fake news stuff, right? And we actually think that Everipedia could be an answer to that, because we actually do take both sides of sources and, something the other side might call fake news or something. So the entire story is out there and it's cited. And a lot of people refer to that. And one of the first things was the cop, right? Because a lot of people were saying, he's not justified, he's justified. So we had it all laid out in one page, and it became basically the source for it on the entire internet.
Absolutely. And then so, this begs the question, if everyone can go and become an editor and add information, and they can, spoof some of the algorithms, if you will, in terms of citing things, like how do you ensure the high quality content or the accuracy of the content?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So it's kind of like the same issue that Wikipedia has, but we have a little bit of unique features that we use to combat that. So every single citation on Everpedia can be voted up or down, kind of like Reddit.
Yep.
And so it gives you a gauge of what the crowd or viewers and the entire community think of the reliability of the citation or the content. It's just kind of a built-in little switch that everyone can weigh in on, and they don't have to really like do anything specific, and you can kind of gauge the community consensus just by looking at the upvote and downvote count. And if it's if the link is if the citation gets too many downvotes, it automatically gets removed by the software. What people cited for it gets removed.
Got it. That makes sense. And so talk to me about the current team right now. How many are you? What's kind of everyone's expertise or role? And then what positions are you guys looking to fill next?
Yeah, so we're about 7 people now. We have 2 software devs, me and Trav, and everyone is basically a executive editor, and we're in charge of the software. I mean, the community. We're in charge of the software, and they basically get to see what everyone does on the site, which is pretty cool. And they get to make lists of things to make, things to work on, and a lot of this is actually basically like remaking an entire encyclopedia, but in 2017, how it should be made in present day.
Absolutely. That makes sense. And so like, what's interesting here is I think that, look, what you guys are doing, if you can keep high quality content, you can make sure that it's accurate, right? And you introduce this idea of it being dynamic and it being kind of real time to some degree. I think that there's a lot of value in that, right? And obviously you'll also capture a lot of traffic, et cetera. But you're trying to build a company, right? And so how do you remain sustainable? Like, how does this make money? What's kind of the plan in terms of how this evolves over time?
Yeah, so we've thought about that a lot. One of the main things is that we want to do sponsored wikis, sponsored pages, kind of like how Facebook ads works, that they make billions and billions every quarter by people paying to have their Facebook page of their business or something advertised on Facebook. One of the things we want to do is you can pay to have any page, likely like yours or your business, in the see also or further research section on the entire site, or a subset of articles or a specific type of articles and stuff. So even though it's not like an ad, it's more like a neutral page that people go and like learn about your company and stuff. We think that it'll be really cool. We've gotten a lot of interest for it, and we still haven't rolled it out, but we will soon.
Got it. And so what do you think is what do you think the role you guys play in kind of in the larger media landscape, right? So right now it's kind of just a land grab to some degree from a strategy standpoint, right? Get as many pages up that are relevant to people and grab as much traffic as you can. But when you think about, kind of the broader, ethical impact of what you guys are doing and kind of your role there, what's the thought process, knowing that it's early and it'll probably evolve over time, but like, how are you guys thinking about that now?
Yeah, well, we're trying to be one of the pillars of the internet, if that makes sense. Like when people think of the internet, they think of, Amazon, Facebook, Google, and Wikipedia somewhat, and stuff like that. And we want to be one of those pillars. And regardless of how long it'll take, I think we're really on the right direction of that. And basically we want to be one of the pillars of truth. And that's basically the mission. That's the end goal. And everything we do, we try to strive towards the long-term vision of that.
Absolutely, makes sense. What's been the biggest surprise to you since you started the company?
That's a really good question. Well, the biggest surprise has been a lot of people just. No one is working in like the knowledge space, like the space where, Wikipedia is basically the monopoly. But so I originally thought it might be like, we might just think a bad idea is really good and we're mistaken. But the biggest surprise was the incredible amount of people that have shown interest and actually have joined and given props for it being such a good idea. Like we've had former Wikipedians come and join us. The former CRO of Wikipedia has said it's a great idea, and a lot of stuff. I was just really surprised that so many people think it's such a good idea, but no one's doing it. So it seems like people just want to make, you know, like the next sexy photo app or something.
Got it. That makes sense. So look, you guys got a really smart team working on this, right? And I think that you'd be hard pressed to find people who say that this is not something worth working on. But how do you mess it up? Like what's the 1 or 2 ways that you end up messing this thing up?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think one of the things I'm mainly concerned about is making sure we keep it for everything, really, and not become too niche. And that might seem counterintuitive because everyone says, you know, to start a startup, you know, go at some niche and then expand and stuff. And if you think about it, that's actually not how Wikipedia became the #6 largest site. From the beginning, it was like the encyclopedia, you know, free human knowledge for everything. So one of the main things that I think that we should keep discipline about is truly making sure it's about everything.
Absolutely. And so when you talk about everything, right, you're talking about different topics, about different interests, about people, about places, about events, etc. How do you do that or prompt editors to continue to kind of create content that's not just in a single niche or just kind of the mainstream stuff? Like how do you actively work to do that?
Yeah, so the interesting thing is, so far it's been pretty easy because when people join, they have a specific interest. Everyone has different interests and they're into different things, and they just start making pages for, you know, their specific thing. And since we have so many people, then there's all of these parallel niches working together, and the average becomes literally everything. But then we want to basically keep making sure that as people grow, the community's balanced, you know. And so basically everyone has their own interests, but we want to continue getting people with unique interests. So like if you don't find stuff you're interested in on Wikipedia, we really try to encourage people to come and make Everipedia pages.
Got it. That makes sense.
And that's how, and that's how we actually started the Instagram model thing, because if you look at it, the Instagram celebrities, YouTube stars and commentators and all of these things, they don't have Wikipedia pages. Most of them, like 99% of them. And there was a lot of demand for it, and people are super interested in these people. They're people that have millions and millions of subscribers. So we just started making them, and people started joining in.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that if you go off of that, right, and this is kind of, since we're doing this kind of live, I'm just going to throw out things as I'm thinking of them. Another area that you would want to focus on is like college and high school athletes, right? So obviously all the professional athletes, they're super well documented. There's all kinds of different sources for that information. But if you look at the kind of the top players in the country, right, or even at, let's say take football, for example, right, there's, I don't know, maybe 100, 150 kids that are always getting searched for. And if you can become that source of truth for them, right, it's a huge traffic driver. And then as you go down into the high school ranks. But the other one is business leaders, right? If you kind of look at what I would consider, there's the cream of the crop, right? You know, the Mark Cubans, et cetera, of the world that have the Wikipedia pages. But if you look at, you know, the top technology companies in the world, there's probably a good 20 to 30 executives at each one of those companies that people are constantly looking for them. And there's no Wikipedia page, right? They usually don't have like a Bloomberg or a like a Business Week type, you know, biography or profile. So you end up looking at their Twitter bio, their LinkedIn, maybe an angel list. Like you kind of are looking at all these different sources of information, trying to get, you know, a picture of who this person is. And based on how you guys are built, you can literally just curate all that information in one place and then link out to those different sources if someone wants to kind of go dig deeper on any single channel, right?
Yeah. Actually, we've actually done some of those. So we haven't done the business leaders, which is a great idea, but we've actually made a lot of pages for high school athletes, particularly football players and stuff. And just because it was cool, like it wasn't even a plan, because I'm a big college football fan and stuff. And the cool thing is that during football season, like right around August and stuff, you can actually see like Friday night games and Saturdays and stuff. If you're looking at the analytics of the website, all of these pages blow up. Like there's like 50 people on them, 100 people, and there's like multiple pages with hundreds of people on them. actually trying to learn more about these new recruits that are either debuting in their first college football game, or they're highly touted recruits and stuff. It's definitely stuff we've done, and it's insane how much demand for information there is. Like, the information market on the internet is, I think, the biggest market, and it's basically untapped. One of the things I ask actually is, do you know how many page views a month Wikipedia reports?
How many?
Yeah, how many page views per month?
I don't know. I literally have no idea. Maybe 50 million?
They report on excess of 16 billion page views a month. So it's
pretty close then.
Yeah, right. So it's massive, and it's actually bigger than a 16 billion market because they leave off all of these pages. And so we're basically trying to become that pillar, if you will.
Absolutely. What is there any type of content that you won't allow on the site?
Yeah, well, we're trying to keep the rules as simple as possible for people to understand how to contribute and get a part of the community. But anything that's not cited or anything that's particularly like libellous or anything like that. But we're very big on, if there's no citation, we will remove it. Just kind of like Wikipedia. So if you make a claim or you make a page about something or someone, have some citations, be able to back up what you're saying. It's a very simple rule.
Absolutely, I think that makes sense. Okay, and then if somebody wants to check out content or become an editor, what are kind of the steps to do that?
Oh yeah, we're always on the site. So just sign up at everipedia.com/register. Hit any of us up on Facebook. And then join the public Everipedia editors Facebook group. There's hundreds of people active in there, and everyone's there. There's always people around on the site editing, and just signing up, we'll see it. We're always keeping track of what's happening on the site, and it's a very welcoming community. The whole point is that it's supposed to be easy, and we want people, the more people to edit versus just read.
Absolutely. Yeah. So this is interesting, right? Because what you're basically doing is, while you're curating information and you're creating this repository of that information, you also are building a community, right? And so you've got to be thoughtful about, how do you keep those people connected? How do you keep them kind of motivated and bought into that community? What are some of the things that you guys are doing there? It sounds like you got a Facebook page. What else?
Well, we're actually very active on a bunch of stuff. We have chats, Messenger, and all of that stuff. One of the cool things is I've made a lot of friends just from Everipedia. A lot of friendships have been made from the fact that people have really, really seen the mission, started editing pages, and really enjoyed it. And that's I've made some of my best friends just from people that I've met from the site and the startup world discussing it. And we're very, very, very open. If you're into it, come visit us at the office. We'd love to see anyone, and hit us up. So
absolutely. Well, that's how you guys got me, right? Is Christian made a page and then just DM'd me on Twitter and was like, "Hey, I made this for you." And he ran away, right?
Yeah, no, we're very very chatty on social media, friendly, and all that stuff. So everyone, actually, here's Angel at the office. This is another executive editor, and
I'm actually, hey, look, I'm watching you guys right now.
Yeah, so every day we're just meeting new people, new users are hitting us up, Christians hitting you up, other people, and it's all fun,
Absolutely. Other than signing up and editing, what can people do to help?
Yeah, that's a really good question. A lot of the stuff that, if you believe in the mission, basically just getting the word out. If you think other people are interested in something like this, tell them, and just know that there's a new alternative to Wikipedia.
Awesome, man. I think that is cool. Travis is throwing in the chat. He said backlinks, established backlinks.
Yeah.
All right, cool, Sam. I appreciate the time. I think
so much, man.
What you're doing is really cool, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much for having me, and
bye to the team.
See ya.
All right, guys, see you later.
Yeah, have a good one.
Yeah.